Fade in, Alexander Mercer had spent 27 years building an empire. Tonight, in 3 words from a freezing child, it would all come crashing down. But he didn't know that yet. The boardroom sat on the 42nd floor of the Mercer Industries Tower in downtown Chicago. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed the city like a painting of power. Glass, steel, money. Everything Alexander Mercer had built since he crawled out of a Gary, Indiana trailer park with nothing but rage and ambition. The conference table stretched 20 feet. 12 board members sat around it. At the head, Thomas Hartwell, 60 years old and every bit the corporate chairman. Silver hair, $10,000 suit, eyes like a loan shark counting interest. Alex stood at the presentation screen. His suit cost more than most people made in a month. His watch cost more than most people made in a year. At 42, he looked like success. Felt like it too. Until this meeting. The South River lawsuit is escalating. Thomas did not look up from his tablet. 47 families now. The media is circling. Alex kept his face neutral. Legal will handle it. We complied with all EPA standards at the time. At the time, Thomas looked up now, but the new tests show contamination levels 3 times higher than what we reported. A board member spoke up. Linda Chen, 50-something, shareholder since the beginning. Alex, these families are claiming our plant poisoned their water supply for 5 years. Those families chose to live there. Alex heard his own voice. Cold, clinical. The voice of a man who had learned to turn off his heart to survive. We offered buyouts in 2018. Not our problem, they stayed. The words landed in the room like stones in water. Ripples. Silence. Thomas tapped his pen against the table. 3 times. The sound echoed. This could cost us $200 million in settlements. Then we fight. Alex gathered his papers. I didn't build this company to give money to people who refuse personal responsibility. He walked to the windows. Below, Chicago glittered. From up here, the South River District was just lights. Not people, not families, not children coughing up blood in the middle of the night. Just lights. His assistant entered. Young woman. Efficient. She carried a folder stamped confidential and read. Sir, these are the South River medical records our legal team compiled for the deposition. Alex opened it without interest. His eyes scanned the pages. Stage 4 lung cancer, chronic respiratory failure, infant mortality rate 40% above national average. He closed the folder. His voice stayed flat. Medical correlation doesn't prove causation. File it with legal. The assistant left. The board members gathered their things. The meeting ended the way these meetings always ended, with Alex winning, with Alex in control, with Alex reminding everyone in the room who built this empire. Thomas stopped at the door. Lex, a word. They stood alone in the empty boardroom. Outside, snow had started to fall, soft at first, then harder. Winter in Chicago had a way of arriving without asking permission. You're playing a dangerous game, Thomas said quietly. Those families have sick children, really sick. If this goes to trial and a jury sees those kids, it won't go to trial. It'll settle. They always settle. Alex loosened his tie. Is there anything else? Thomas studied him for a long moment. You used to care more. When you started this company, you talked about giving back, about remembering where you came from. I remember where I came from. Alex's jaw tightened. That's exactly why I built this, so I'd never go back. At what cost? The question hung in the air. Alex didn't answer it. He walked out of the boardroom, down the private elevator, into the lobby where his driver waited. James, the chauffeur, held the SUV door open. Good evening, Mr. Mercer. Straight home? Yes. The vehicle pulled into downtown traffic. Alex stared at his phone. 43 emails, all urgent, all demanding his attention. The company never slept, neither did he. The SUV stopped at a red light on Michigan Avenue. Alex glanced out the window. A homeless man held a cardboard sign. Veteran, hungry, anything helps. Alex looked away. The light turned green. The SUV moved forward. 3 blocks later, it stopped again outside Mercer Towers executive parking. Midnight. The city had gone quiet under the snow. Alex stepped out of the vehicle. The cold hit him like a slap. -18 degrees. Wind chill made it feel like -30. Sir, do you want me to wait? James asked. No, go home. I'll walk to my apartment. Alex lived 6 blocks away. Penthouse, $40 million. Empty. James hesitated. It's dangerous out here, this late, in this weather. I'll be bar for him. The SUV pulled away. Alex stood alone on the sidewalk. Snow fell harder now. The kind of snow that erased the world, made everything white, made everything clean. He started walking. His leather shoes weren't made for snow. His cashmere coat was for style, not warmth. But Alex barely noticed. He had trained himself not to feel discomfort, not to feel much of anything. 5 blocks, 4 blocks, 3 blocks. Then he saw her. At first he thought it was garbage. A pile of something dark against the white snow huddled on the steps of a closed cafe. But as he got closer, the pile moved. A child. Alex stopped walking. The girl sat on the concrete steps, her back against a locked door. She wore a coat, if you could call it that. Thin fabric. More like a shirt, really. It hung on her small frame like a flag in the wind. But that wasn't what made Alex's heart stop. It was what she held in her arms. A baby, barely more than a year old, wrapped in a blanket that might have been pink once, but was now gray with dirt and age. The baby didn't move, didn't cry, just lay there in the girl's arms with lips that had turned blue. Alex stepped closer, his shoes crunched in the snow. The girl looked up. She was maybe 7, maybe 8. Hard to tell. Hunger makes children look smaller. Her face was pale, not the pale of someone cold, the pale of someone dying. Her hair had frozen into stiff strands that stuck to her cheeks. Her lips had cracked open. Thin lines of blood ran down to her chin. But her eyes, God, her eyes. They looked at Alex with a mixture of hope and terror that he would remember for the rest of his life. She opened her mouth. Her teeth chattered so hard he could hear them clicking together like dice in a cup. Please. One word, barely a whisper. Please save my sister first. Don't worry about me. Time stopped. The city disappeared. The snow disappeared. Everything disappeared except those words echoing in his head. Save my sister first. Alex's knees hit the frozen sidewalk. He didn't decide to kneel. His body just did it. Something inside him, something he thought had died a long time ago, suddenly woke up screaming, because he had heard those exact words before. Winter 1997, Alex is 15 years old. His family lives in a trailer park in Gary, Indiana. The heat doesn't work. They can't afford to fix it. They can barely afford to eat. His sister Claire is 8. She has asthma, bad asthma, the kind that makes her wheeze when she breathes, the kind that scares their mother every single day. It's 3 in the morning. Claire's is having an attack. Her inhaler is empty. They used the last puff 2 days ago. Alex's mother is crying, screaming, "Call 911, call them!" Alex grabs the phone. His hands shake. "My sister can't breathe, we need an ambulance." The operator's voice comes through, calm, professional, cold. "Ambulance service is $800. Can you provide payment information?" "We don't have $800. Please, she's dying." "Sir, I recommend you drive her to the nearest urgent care." But they don't have a car. The nearest clinic is 12 miles away. It's -20 outside. Alex hangs up, runs back to his sister. Claire is on the floor now. Her lips are turning blue, just like that baby's lips on the street. She reaches for his hand. Her fingers are so small, so cold. "Alex," her voice is barely there. "Take care of mommy first. Don't be sad." Those are her last words. She dies in his arms while snow falls through a broken window. Alex blinked. He was on the sidewalk, in front of a cafe, 30 years later. But the little girl in front of him was saying the same words. "Save my sister first." He found his voice. "What's your name?" Sophie." The girl's whole body shook. "Her name's Grace. She's not waking up." Alex looked at the baby, Grace, 18 months old maybe. Her chest barely moved. When it did, the movement was so slight that Alex almost missed it. 3 seconds in, 5 seconds out. Pause. Terrible pause. Then another breath. He didn't think. He just moved. Alex scooped both children into his arms. Sophie weighed nothing. Maybe 40 pounds. Grace was even lighter. Together they felt like carrying feathers. Wrong kind of feathers. The kind that made your stomach drop because humans shouldn't weigh this little. "James," Alex shouted into the snow. But the SUV was long gone. He pulled out his phone with one hand while holding both children with the other. "Hit speed dial." James answered on the first ring. "Get back here. Now. Michigan and Randolph. Medical emergency." "Sir? Now!" Alex held the children against his chest, tried to share his warmth. Sophie's head lolled against his shoulder. Her breathing was shallow, fast. Her forehead burned with fever. Grace didn't move at all. The SUV appeared 3 minutes later. Longest 3 minutes of Alex's life. James jumped out, opened the back door. Alex slid in with both children still in his arms. St. Anne's Medical Center. Emergency entrance. Call ahead. Tell them pediatric emergency. 2 patients, severe hypothermia, possible respiratory failure. James didn't ask questions. He just drove. Fast. Inside the SUV, warmth blasted from the vents. Too much heat. Too fast, but Alex didn't care. He held the children close, felt their small bodies trembling. Sophie's eyes opened halfway. "Please don't leave us. Everyone leaves." "I'm not going anywhere." Alex surprised himself. The words came out before he could think them. "I promise." Sophie's hand unclenched. Something fell into Alex's lap. A piece of paper, crumpled, dirty. He picked it up with one hand. An address, 248 South River Lane, Chicago. Alex's blood turned to ice. South River, the same neighborhood, the same contaminated zone, the same area he had just dismissed in the boardroom as not our problem. The baby in his arms. This child. These children. They were South River. James spoke from the driver's seat. "Hospital is 2 minutes out. They're ready for us." Alex looked down at Grace. Her lips were still blue. Her breathing was still wrong. 3 seconds in, 5 seconds out. Pause. Another breath. "Hold on," he whispered, to the baby, to Sophie, to himself. "Just hold on." St. Anne's Medical Center emergency entrance exploded with activity the moment the SUV pulled up. 4 nurses, 2 doctors, a gurney, portable monitors, organized chaos. Dr. Martinez, the ER attending, met them at the door. 50s, gray at the temples, eyes that had seen everything. "Sir, what happened?" "Found them on the street. The baby isn't breathing right. The girl has a fever." "How long were they outside?" "I don't know." Dr. Martinez didn't wait for more. He took Grace from Alex's arms, started barking orders. "Get her to Trauma 1. I need respiratory standing by. This one's critical." Another nurse took Sophie, gentler, but still urgent. "Sweetie, can you hear me? We're going to help you." Sophie's eyes found Alex. Terror, pure terror. "Don't leave Grace. Please don't leave her." "I won't." Alex followed the team inside, through automatic doors, into bright lights that hurt his eyes, into the smell of antiseptic and fear. A nurse stopped him. "Sir, are you the father?" "Father." The word hung there. "No, I found them. We need guardian consent for treatment." "They were dying on the street." Alex's voice rose. He never raised his voice, but right now he didn't care. "Do what you need to do. I'll pay for everything." The nurse looked at Dr. Martinez. The doctor nodded. "Treat them. We'll sort out paperwork later." They wheeled Grace into Trauma 1. Through windows, Alex could see the team swarming her, taking vitals, hooking up IVs. One nurse cut away the dirty blanket. Grace's tiny body looked even smaller on the big hospital bed. Dr. Martinez pressed a stethoscope to her chest. His face went tight. "Pulse is 45. Temp is 89. Sats are 72. A nurse called out, "Should those numbers mean something to me?" Another nurse answered, voice grim. "Normal infant pulse is 120. Normal temp is 98.6. Normal oxygen saturation is 95 plus. She's critical." Alex pressed his hands against the glass, watched, helpless. In the other room, they were examining Sophie. Temperature 101, pneumonia, severe malnutrition, but conscious, alert enough. Then everything went wrong. Grace's monitor started screaming, not beeping, screaming. The sound that means no heartbeat, the sound that means dying. She's coding, Dr. Martinez shouted. Nurses descended. Someone grabbed the crash cart. Someone else started chest compressions on a baby. Alex watched the nurse's hands pressing down on Grace's tiny chest. Watched the doctor grab paddles. In the hallway, Sophie heard the alarm. She tried to sit up, tried to run to her sister. Two nurses held her back. She started screaming, "Grace! Gracie, no!" The sound of that scream, the sound of a child watching her sister die. Alex would hear it in his nightmares for months. Clear! Dr. Martinez put the paddles on Grace's chest. Her tiny body jerked. The monitor stayed flat. Again! Clear! Another jolt. Another jerk. Still flat. Epi! 1 milligram. A nurse injected something. They waited. 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds. Then, finally, beep, beep, beep. "We have sinus rhythm," someone shouted. "She's back." Dr. Martinez didn't celebrate. "Get her intubated, now, and somebody sedate her. I don't want her fighting the tube." They moved with precision, inserted a breathing tube down Grace's throat, hooked her to a ventilator. The machine started breathing for her, in and out. Mechanical, but alive. In the hallway, Alex caught Sophie as she collapsed. She sobbed into his chest, her whole body shaking. Not from cold anymore, from terror. Is she alive? Is Gracie alive? Alex held her. This child he didn't know. This child whose sister had just died and come back. Yes, she's alive. But barely. Dr. Martinez came out 20 minutes later. His scrubs were soaked with sweat despite the air conditioning. He pulled off his gloves, looked at Alex. "The baby is stable for now, but she's critical. Severe hypothermia, respiratory distress. We're moving her to the ICU." "What's wrong with her lungs?" Dr. Martinez hesitated. "It's not just the cold. There's underlying damage, chronic inflammation, scarring. I'm seeing patterns consistent with long-term exposure to environmental toxins." Environmental toxins. The words hit Alex like a punch. Where were they living? "I don't know yet. But wherever it was, the air quality was toxic. This baby's lungs look like someone who worked in a coal mine for 20 years. She's 18 months old." Alex pulled the crumpled paper from his pocket, handed it to Dr. Martinez. "They were living here." The doctor read it. His face went pale. South River, Jesus, the contaminated zone. He looked at Alex with different eyes now, recognition. "You're Alexander Mercer, Mercer Industries." Alex said nothing. Dr. Martinez's jaw tightened. But he was a doctor first. "The girl Sophie has pneumonia, fever, malnutrition, but she'll recover. The baby," he shook his head, "Grace will need specialized care, long term. This isn't something we fix in a week." "What kind of care?" "Pediatric pulmonary specialist, possibly a lung transplant down the road. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars." "I'll pay." Dr. Martinez stared at him. "Why?" Alex didn't have an answer. They moved Grace to the ICU at 3 in the morning. Sophie refused to leave her sister's side, so they set up a cot in the same room. Sophie curled up on it, watching the monitors, counting beeps. Alex sat in the corner. He hadn't left either. His phone buzzed. 47 messages, 12 missed calls, all from the office, all urgent. He turned it off. At 4 in the morning, a woman appeared in the doorway, mid-40s, professional clothes but kind eyes. She carried a folder. "Mr. Mercer, I'm Dr. Rebecca Hayes. I'm a social worker here." Alex stood. "The children are okay?" "Stable, but I need to ask you some questions." She gestured to the hallway. They stepped outside, spoke in low voices. "How do you know these children?" "I don't. I found them tonight on the street." "At midnight? On Michigan Avenue?" "Yes." Rebecca studied him. "That's quite a coincidence. You, the CEO of Mercer Industries, finding 2 children from the South River District. I didn't know where they were from until I saw the address. And yet you stayed. You brought them here. You're paying for their care." She tilted her head. "Why?" Alex looked through the window at Sophie sleeping, at Grace hooked to machines, because they needed help. "That's not an answer. It's the only one I have." Rebecca opened her folder. Sophie and Grace Bennett, mother Anna Bennett, Deceased 8 months ago, cause of death, lung cancer, father unknown, abandoned the family when Grace was born. She pulled out a photo. A woman, tired eyes, but smiling, holding two little girls. Anna Bennett worked 3 jobs, lived at 248 South River Lane for 5 years, right next to your chemical plant. Rebecca's voice stayed neutral, professional, but there was an edge there. She wrote letters, a lot of letters, to your company, to the EPA, to anyone who would listen, begging for help. I never saw those letters. Are you sure? The question landed hard. Rebecca continued. The children have one living relative, Marcus Bennett, Anna's brother-in-law, but we haven't been able to locate him. Last known address was a shelter. He has a history, 3 arrests for public intoxication, lost his job 7 years ago. What happened to him? Industrial accident at one of your facilities, actually. Plant 7, 2015, conveyor belt malfunction. He lost part of his leg. Alex felt sick. So these children, Rebecca said quietly, they're connected to your company in multiple ways. Their mother poisoned by your pollution, their uncle crippled by your equipment, and now you want to be their savior. I'm not trying to be anyone's savior. Then what are you trying to be? Alex didn't answer, couldn't answer. Rebecca closed her folder. I'll be honest with you, Mr. Mercer. This looks suspicious. Rich CEO swoops in to save children his company harmed, right before a major lawsuit. The optics are terrible. I don't care about optics. You should, because if we find Marcus Bennett, he has first rights as next of kin, blood relative. And a good lawyer could argue you're trying to buy these children to avoid liability. That's not what this is. Prove it. Rebecca's eyes were hard now, because right now it looks exactly like that. She walked away, left Alex alone in the hallway. He leaned against the wall, closed his eyes, tried to think, but all he could see was Sophie's face, Grace's blue lips, Anna Bennett's photograph. His phone buzzed again. He pulled it out. One new email from an internal company address. Subject line, confidential, South River Correspondence Archive. He opened it. Inside were 47 files, 47 letters, all from South River residents, all complaining about water quality, air quality, sick children, dead family members. Alex scrolled through them, saw the dates, 2016, 2017, 2018. Then he saw one letter, March 15th, 2018, from Anna Bennett. His hand shook as he opened it. The letter filled his screen, handwritten, scanned into the system, filed away, forgotten. Until now. Dear management of Mercer Industries, my name is Anna Bennett, and I am writing to you as a mother whose children are suffering. For the past 3 years, my family has lived at 248 South River Lane, downstream from your chemical processing plant. My daughter Sophie, who is 4 years old, has developed chronic respiratory problems. She wakes up coughing blood. My baby, Grace, who is 3 months old, struggles to breathe on humid days. The doctor says her lungs are compromised. She may never develop normally. I am not a scientist, but I know something is wrong with our water, our air, our land. The river runs gray-black. The smell burns our throats. 3 families on our street have lost members to lung disease in the past year alone. I am begging you, please test the water. Please clean up the contamination. We cannot afford to move. We have nowhere else to go. I work 3 jobs just to feed my girls. I cannot afford to fight you in court. I cannot afford lawyers. All I can afford is this letter and the hope that someone with power will see us. Please, for the sake of our children. Respectfully, Anna Bennett. At the bottom of the letter in the digital file, there was a note. Date received, March 20th, 2018. Action taken, reviewed, refer to legal. No action required. Signed, A.M. Alexander Mercer. His own initials, his own signature. Alex stared at the screen, at his name, at the words, no action required. He didn't remember this specific letter, but he remembered the protocol. Complaints went to legal. Legal denied everything. Move on. Protect the company. Protect the profits. He scrolled down, found more letters, more signatures, more no action required stamps. 47 letters, 47 families, All dismissed, all ignored. Alex walked to the bathroom. Barely made it to the toilet before he threw up. Everything in his stomach came out, kept coming, until there was nothing left. He knelt on the bathroom floor, cold tile against his knees, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead, and he let himself feel something he hadn't felt in years. Shame. Pure, burning shame. Anna Bennett had begged him for help, had written to him, had trusted that someone with power would listen, and he had signed a paper that killed her. Not directly, not with his hands, but with his signature, with his indifference, with his choice to look away. Alex stood, washed his face, looked at himself in the mirror. He barely recognized the man looking back. When had he become this? When had profit become more important than people? When had he stopped seeing faces and started seeing numbers? He thought back to that 15-year-old boy in Gary, Indiana, the one holding his dying sister, the one who swore he would never be powerless again. Never let money stop him from saving someone. That boy would hate the man he'd become. Alex walked back to the ICU. It was 5 in the morning now. The hospital was quiet, just the sound of machines, beeping, breathing, living. Sophie was awake, sitting on her cot, staring at Grace. Alex sat down next to her. For a long time, neither of them spoke. Finally, Sophie broke the silence. "Are you really going to stay?" "Yes." "People always say that. Then they leave." "I'm not leaving." Sophie looked at him, those old eyes in a young face. "Why not?" "Because I should have helped you a long time ago, and I didn't. And I'm sorry. You didn't even know us. I knew your mother wrote to me. I knew she asked for help. And I didn't read her letter. He stopped. "I just signed it away." Sophie was quiet for a moment. Then she said something that destroyed him. "Mommy said rich people don't see kids like us. She said we're invisible to you." Alex felt tears on his face. He didn't remember the last time he cried. Maybe when his wife died 5 years ago. Maybe not even then. "I see you now," he whispered. "I see you, Sophie, and I'm not looking away again." Morning came slowly, gray light through hospital windows, the city waking up outside, people going to work, living their lives, not knowing that in this room everything had changed. Dr. Martinez came in at 7, checked Grace's vitals, adjusted her ventilator settings. "How is she?" Alex asked. "Stable, which is good, but she's going to need to be transferred to North Shore Children's Hospital. They have a specialized pediatric pulmonary unit, better equipped for long-term care." "When?" "Tomorrow, if she stays stable." "But Mr. Mercer, I need to be honest with you. This baby has severe lung damage, the kind that doesn't fully heal. She's going to need years of treatment, possibly a transplant." Sophie was listening. Her face went white. "A transplant? What does that mean?" "Doctor." Martinez knelt down to her level. "It means someday, if we can't fix her lungs, we might need to give her new ones. From someone who doesn't need theirs anymore." "Will it hurt her?" "It's a big surgery, but it would let her breathe better, let her run and play like other kids." Sophie nodded slowly, processing. Too much weight for an 8-year-old to carry. After Dr. Martinez left, Alex's phone started buzzing. He turned it back on. Big mistake. 15 missed calls. From Thomas, from the board, from legal. He answered the next one. Thomas's voice exploded through the speaker. "Where the hell have you been?" "At the hospital." "What? Are you sick?" "No, I'm taking care of something." "Taking care of what?" "Alex, we have the South River deposition this morning. Legal needs you there in 1 hour." Alex looked at Sophie, at Grace, at these 2 children whose mother he had killed with his negligence. "Cancel it." Silence on the other end. "What did you just say?" "I said cancel the deposition. And the lawsuit, we're settling." "Are you out of your mind? That's $200 million. "I don't care." "You don't..." "Alex, what's happened to you?" "I met 2 little girls last night. One of them almost died. Their mother wrote to me 5 years ago begging for help. I dismissed her. Now I'm going to fix it." "You can't fix this by throwing money at street kids." Alex's voice went cold. "Don't call them that. Their names are Sophie and Grace, and they're not street kids. They're victims." of our pollution, of my negligence. This is emotional thinking. This is exactly what I warned you about. Then warn me. I'm done pretending we didn't poison that neighborhood. I'm done pretending those letters didn't exist. I'm settling. 200 million. Full medical coverage for affected families. Environmental cleanup over 5 years. The board will never approve that. Then the board can vote me out. But I'm not backing down on this. Thomas was quiet for a moment. Then, there's an emergency board meeting at 9. You need to be there. I can't. I'm staying with the children. Alex, if you don't show up, they'll use it against you. They'll say you're unstable. They'll remove you as CEO. Alex looked at Sophie again. She was holding Grace's tiny hand through the rails of the hospital bed. Let them tremo. He hung up. At 10:30 in the morning, Rebecca Hayes returned. This time she wasn't alone. A man stood behind her, late 30s, disheveled. He walked with a limp. His left leg ended in a prosthetic visible below torn jeans. He smelled like alcohol and desperation. Marcus Bennett. Sophie saw him and went rigid. Uncle Marcus. The man's eyes filled with tears. Sophie, Gracie, oh God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I wasn't there. He moved toward them, but Rebecca held up a hand. Mer Bennett, you're intoxicated. You can't go near the children right now. They're my family, my brother's kids. You can't keep me from them. Actually, I can, until you're sober, and until we determine if you're fit to care for them. Marcus turned on Alex. Recognition flashed across his face, followed immediately by rage. You're Alexander Mercer. Yes. You son of a... Marcus lunged forward. Security appeared from nowhere, held him back. Those are my nieces. Mine. You have no right to them. Alex stood, kept his voice calm. I found them dying on the street. Where were you? Where was I? Marcus fought against the security guards. Where was I? I'll tell you where I was. I was living in a shelter because your company destroyed my life. He yanked up his pant leg, revealed the prosthetic Wendley. 2015, Plant 7. Your equipment crushed my leg because your company cut corners on safety. You paid me $50,000 to shut up and fired me. My wife left me. I lost everything. Alex felt the words like physical blows. I didn't know about that accident. Of course you didn't. You don't know about anything except your stock price. Marcus was crying now, angry, desperate tears. Anna was my sister-in-law. She called me before she died. Begged me to take care of Sophie and Grace. I was too drunk to answer. That's on me. His voice broke completely. But them getting sick? That's on you. The security guards started pulling him toward the door. Marcus fought them. I'm taking my nieces. They're my blood. You're drunk, Alex said quietly. You can barely stand. You think I'm letting you near them like this? I'm their family. You're just some rich asshole trying to buy a clear conscience. Rebecca stepped between them. Both of you stop. This isn't about either of you. This is about two little girls who need stability, safety, and love. She looked at Marcus. Mr. Bennett, when's the last time you saw Sophie and Grace? Marcus hesitated. 2 years ago, maybe longer. And in that time, have you tried to contact them? Help them? I was dealing with my own problems. Exactly. You're dealing with addiction and trauma. Those children need someone who's present. Right now, that's Mr. Mercer. Marcus looked at Sophie, then at Grace, then back at Alex. They're all I have left. Please, don't take them from me. I'll get better. I'll go to rehab. I'll do whatever it takes. For the first time, Alex saw Marcus not as an enemy, but as another broken man, another victim of the machine he'd built. Mr. Bennett, Alex kept his voice gentle. I'm not trying to replace you. But right now, Grace needs specialists. Sophie needs therapy. They need stability. And you think your money fixes everything? No, but it gives them a chance. You want to be in their lives. Get sober, get help. Prove you can be the uncle they need. Marcus's face crumpled. And if I can't, you just take them forever? I hope you can, because they need family who loves them. But I won't let them go back to the streets while you figure it out. Security started leading Marcus away. He didn't fight anymore, just cried. At the door, he turned back. You think you're the hero here, Mercer? You're not. You're the villain who got a conscience too late. The doors closed. Sophie stood frozen. Tears ran down her face. He hates you. He's angry, and he has every right to be. Do you hate him? Alex thought about it. No, I hate what I did to him, what my company did. But him? He's just trying to survive. Sophie wiped her eyes. Will he come back? Probably. And Sophie, if you want to be with him when he's better, I'll understand. She looked at him with those impossibly old eyes. Right now, I just want Gracie to be okay. Me too. That afternoon, while Sophie napped and Grace remained in her medically induced sleep, Alex received an email from Thomas Hartwell. Subject, Emergency Board Vote Results. His hand shook as he opened it. Alexander, the board met this morning regarding your recent conduct and decision to unilaterally settle the South River lawsuit without approval. After lengthy discussion, we held a vote of no confidence. Results, 8 members voted to suspend you as CEO pending further investigation. 4 voted to keep you. 1 abstained. Effective immediately, you are suspended from all executive duties. I will serve as interim CEO. You have 90 days to resolve the custody situation, the South River matter, and regain board confidence. If not, we will hold a second vote for permanent removal. I'm sorry it came to this. Thomas Alex stared at the screen. 90 days. He had 90 days to save his career, his company, everything he'd built. Or he could walk away, choose these children over everything else. The choice should have been impossible. Instead, it was the easiest decision of his life. He typed a response. Thomas, understood. I'll use the 90 days well. But I need you to understand something. I'm not saving my job. I'm saving these children. If I have to choose between the company and them, I choose them. Alex, he hit send, then turned off his phone. Rebecca appeared in the doorway. Mr. Mercer, I need to inform you that Marcus Bennett has filed for emergency custody. There will be a preliminary hearing in 2 weeks. I expected that. Do you have legal representation? I will. Rebecca studied him for a long moment. This is going to get ugly. You know that, right? The media, the optics, a billionaire CEO fighting for custody of children his company harmed. I know. Why are you doing this? Really? Alex looked at Grace, at her tiny chest rising and falling with the help of a machine, at Sophie sleeping on the cot beside her sister. Because 30 years ago, my little sister died in my arms. She was 8, same age as Sophie. She had asthma. We couldn't afford her medicine. She died because we were poor, because we didn't matter to people with power. His voice got rough. I swore I'd never be powerless again. Never let money stop me from saving someone. But somewhere along the way, I became the person I hated. I became the one with power who didn't see people dying, who didn't care. He turned to Rebecca. I can't bring back Anna Bennett, can't undo 30 years of choices. But I can do this. I can make sure her children survive. I can matter to someone who needs me. Rebecca's eyes softened slightly. That's the first honest thing you've said. It's the first honest thing I've felt in a long time. She handed him a business card. You'll need this. Best family law attorney in Chicago. Tell her I sent you. Will that help? Maybe, but Mr. Mercer, you should know something. Marcus has a good case. Blood relative. Documented progress in rehab as of yesterday. The court favors family reunification when possible. So I might lose them. You might, but at least you'll have tried. After she left, Alex sat in the quiet room, listening to machines breathe, watching Sophie sleep, thinking about the next 90 days. Everything he'd built was at risk. His company, his reputation, his fortune. But looking at these 2 children, he realized something. He'd already lost the things that mattered. Lost them years ago when he stopped seeing people as people, when he turned hearts into numbers, when he forgot what it felt like to care about something more than winning. These children were giving him a chance to find those things again, even if it cost him everything else. Sophie stirred, opened her eyes, saw him sitting there. You're still here. I told you I would be. She sat up, rubbed her eyes. The board fired you. I heard your phone. Before you turned it off. You were listening? I'm good at being invisible. People say things when they think I'm sleeping. Alex almost smiled. They didn't fire me, just suspended me. I have 90 days to fix things. Will you? Will I what? Fix things. Get your job back. Stop being here. Alex moved to sit on the edge of her cot. Sophie, I need you to understand something. I'm not here because I have to be. I'm here because I want to be. People want things until they don't. That's true. But some wants go deeper than mood. Some wants change who you are. He looked at Grace. Your sister almost died last night, twice. And when she came back, I felt something I haven't felt in years. Relief, white awe, purpose. He turned back to Sophie. So no, I'm not going anywhere. Even if they fire me permanently. Even if Marcus takes you to court. Even if this costs me everything. Sophie's eyes filled with tears. Why? Because you asked me to save your sister first. And I did. And now I can't imagine a world where I don't keep trying to save you both. She threw her arms around him, small body shaking. Thank you. Thank you for seeing us. Alex held her. This child who had survived more than most adults. This child who had just given him the greatest gift anyone ever had. A reason to be better than he was. Outside the window, night was falling on Chicago. Snow had stopped. The city glittered. From this hospital room, Alex could see Mercer Tower in the distance. His empire. His achievement. It looked smaller than it used to. Grace's monitor beeped steadily. Sophie fell asleep in his arms. And Alexander Mercer sat in a hospital chair, holding a child who wasn't his, fighting for a future he'd never planned, finally understanding what his life had been missing all along. Not power, not money, not success, but this moment, this purpose, this love. Tomorrow the real fight would begin. The custody battle, the media storm, the company crisis, all of it. But tonight he would sit here. He would keep his promise. He would stay. Because 30 years ago, he couldn't save his sister. But maybe, just maybe, he could save theirs. 3 days passed in the hospital. 3 days that felt like 3 years. Grace remained in the ICU, intubated, sedated, her tiny body hooked to machines that breathed for her, fed her, kept her alive. The doctors talked about transferring her to North Shore Children's Hospital. Better equipment, better specialists. But they needed her stable first. Sophie rarely left her sister's side. She'd move from the cot to the chair beside Grace's bed, sat there for hours, sometimes talking to her sister even though Grace couldn't hear, sometimes just holding her hand through the rails. I'm here, Gracie. I'm not going anywhere. Just like you waited for me. Remember? When Mommy was sick and I had to work? You always waited. Now I'm waiting for you. Alex listened from the corner. This 8-year-old child, teaching him about loyalty, about love, about showing up. He'd called Jennifer Walsh, the family law attorney Rebecca recommended. She'd agreed to take his case, said they had a fighting chance, maybe 60-40 in his favor. But Marcus had rights, blood rights, and a good story. Victim of corporate greed seeking to reclaim his family. The media had found the story too. Of course they had. Billionaire CEO saves children his company poisoned. It was everywhere. CNN, Fox News, local channels running it every hour. The comments section on every article split down the middle. Half the people called him a hero. The other half called him a fraud, a manipulator, a rich man buying redemption. Alex stopped reading after the first day. What mattered wasn't what strangers thought. What mattered was the 2 girls in this room. On the 4th morning, Dr. Martinez came in with good news and bad news. Grace is stable enough to transfer. The ambulance is ready. North Shore is expecting her. What's the bad news? Alex asked. The transfer itself is risky. We'll be taking her off our equipment and putting her on portable. If something goes wrong during transport, he didn't finish the sentence. Didn't need to. Sophie stood up. I'm going with her. Sophie, you should stay here. It's safer. I'm going with her. Her voice left no room for argument. Dr. Martinez looked at Alex. Alex nodded. We'll both go. The ambulance ride took 20 minutes. Longest 20 minutes of Alex's life since that night in the snow. Sophie sat beside her sister's stretcher, holding Grace's hand, watching the monitors like she'd learned to read them, which she had. 4 days in the ICU had taught her what every beep meant, what every number signified. Alex sat across from them, watching Sophie watch her sister, this child carrying the weight of the world on small shoulders. Halfway to North Shore, Grace's monitor started alarming. The paramedic leaned over, checked her vitals. His face went tight. Her oxygen saturation is dropping. 68. 65. What does that mean? Sophie's voice shook. It means she's not getting enough oxygen. I'm increasing the flow. He adjusted something on the portable ventilator. The alarm kept screaming. 62. She's decompensating. Call ahead. Tell them we need respiratory standing by at the entrance. Sophie's grip on Grace's hand went white-knuckled. Don't leave me, Gracie. Please don't leave me. The paramedic grabbed a bag valve mask, started manually bagging Grace, squeezing air into her lungs with his hands. Alex moved to Sophie, put his arm around her. She was shaking, not crying, too scared to cry. Is she dying? Sophie whispered. No, they're helping her. She's going to be okay. But Alex wasn't sure. Wasn't sure at all. The ambulance screamed through Chicago traffic, sirens wailing, cars pulling aside, every second feeling like an hour. Finally, North Shore Children's Hospital. The doors flew open. A team was waiting. They pulled Grace's stretcher out, rolled her inside at a run. Sophie jumped down, tried to follow. A nurse stopped her gently. Sweetie, you have to wait here. Let the doctors work. No, she needs me. Sophie, Alex knelt in front of her. They need room to help her. We'll be right here, right outside that door, but we have to let them work. Sophie's face crumpled. She collapsed against him, started sobbing, great heaving sobs that shook her whole body. Alex picked her up, carried her to the waiting room, sat down with her in his lap. She cried into his shoulder. He held her, rocked her slightly, said nothing, because there was nothing to say. They sat like that for 30 minutes. Then Dr. Elena Rodriguez came out, 40-something, Latina, serious eyes but kind. Grace is stable. We got her intubated on our equipment. She's in the pediatric ICU now. Sophie lifted her head. Can I see her? In a little while. Let us get her settled first. Dr. Rodriguez looked at Alex. Mr. Mercer, we need to talk about Grace's long-term prognosis. They sat in a consultation room. Sophie refused to leave, so Alex kept her with him. She deserved to hear this. It was her sister, her life. Dr. Rodriguez pulled up images on a screen. X-rays, CT scans, things that looked like lungs but weren't quite right. Grace's lungs are functioning at 35% capacity. The scarring is extensive. Fibrosis, chronic inflammation. Her body is trying to heal, but every breath in Chicago air irritates the damage. What are our options? Alex asked. Short term, we keep her intubated, let her lungs rest, steroid treatment to reduce inflammation, antibiotics for any infection. She paused, the kind of pause that means bad news is coming. Long-term, Grace will likely need a lung transplant within 2 to 3 years. Sophie gasped. A transplant? Like someone else's lungs? Dr. Rodriguez turned to her gently. Yes, sweetie. Someone who doesn't need them anymore would donate their lungs so Grace can breathe. Would it hurt her? It's a big surgery, but afterward, she could run and play like other kids. Sophie's eyes filled with tears. When can she get it? That's complicated. Dr. Rodriguez looked at Alex. To get on the transplant list, Grace needs several things. Stable living environment, legal guardian with medical decision-making power, proof of long-term financial coverage, home care support system. I can provide all of that, Alex said. Can you? Because I see in her file that you're not her legal guardian. Marcus Bennett is her next of kin, and there's a custody hearing scheduled. Alex's stomach dropped. Dr. Rodriguez continued. Mr. Mercer, I believe you want what's best for Grace, but until you have legal custody, I can't put her on the transplant list. And if Marcus Bennett becomes her guardian and can't maintain her care, she moves down the list, or off it entirely. The words hung in the air like a death sentence. How long can she survive without a transplant? If her lungs don't improve, 2 years, maybe 3, but her quality of life will be poor. Constant breathing treatments, frequent hospitalizations. She won't be able to play, go to school, live like a normal child. Sophie was crying silently now. Alex pulled her closer. So custody isn't just about where they live, Alex said quietly. It's about whether Grace lives at all. Dr. Rodriguez nodded. I'm sorry, but yes. 2 weeks later, they stood in family court. Cook County Courthouse, third floor, Judge Patricia Morrison presiding. 60 years old, gray hair pulled back, eyes that had seen every kind of family tragedy imaginable. The courtroom was packed. Media in the back, South River families on one side, Mercer Industries board members on the other. Rebecca Hayes sitting near the front. Marcus arrived with a lawyer. Not a public defender this time. Victoria Hastings, 55, sharp suit, sharper eyes, the kind of attorney who charged $800 an hour. Jennifer Walsh leaned toward Alex. That's interesting. How is Marcus affording her? Pro bono? Alex guessed. Maybe, or she sees this as a high-profile case. Win against a billionaire, make national news. Alex didn't care about the politics. He cared about the two girls sitting behind him. Sophie in the dress they'd bought for court. Grace still in the hospital, but improving. Breathing on her own now. Small victories. Judge Morrison called the court to order. This is a preliminary hearing to establish temporary custody of Sophie and Grace Bennett, while permanent custody is decided. Mr. Bennett, you may present your case first. Victoria Hastings stood. She moved like a shark, smooth, predatory. Your Honor, my client Marcus Bennett is the paternal uncle and sole living blood relative of these children. Despite struggles with addiction stemming from trauma inflicted by Mercer Industries, he has taken extraordinary steps to rehabilitate his life. She presented documents. Marcus enrolled in 30-day inpatient rehab, started 2 weeks ago, employment offer from a former colleague, mechanic shop on the south side, application for subsidized housing approved. But Bennett's addiction, Victoria continued, stems directly from an industrial accident at a Mercer Industries facility in 2015. He lost part of his leg, lost his job, lost everything. He is a victim seeking to reclaim his family from the perpetrator who caused his trauma. It was effective, brutal, true. Jennifer stood. Your Honor, Mr. Mercer has provided immediate life-saving intervention, paid $180,000 in medical bills, offered a stable home environment, and committed to long-term care, including a potential lung transplant costing over $500,000. She presented her own documents. Dr. Rodriguez's letter stating Grace needs stability immediately. Sophie's written statement is saying she feels safe with Alex. Rebecca Hayes' assessment recommending temporary custody to Alex. Mr. Bennett's progress is admirable, but Grace Bennett doesn't have time to wait for him to complete recovery. She's critically ill. She needs specialized care now. Judge Morrison studied both sets of documents. I'd like to hear from Mr. Bennett first. Please take the stand. Marcus walked to the witness stand. He'd cleaned up, shaved, wore a borrowed suit, but he still limped, still looked broken in ways clothes couldn't hide. He placed his hand on the Bible, swore to tell the truth. Victoria started gently. Mr. Bennett, can you tell the court about your relationship with Sophie and Grace? They're my nieces, my brother Danny's kids. He died before Grace was born. Heart attack. He was 32. And their mother? Anna. She was good to Danny. Worked hard. Tried her best. But the neighborhood was killing her, literally. The air, the water. She got sick. Did she reach out to you? Marcus's voice cracked. Yeah, called me a few months before she died. Asked me to take care of the girls. I said I would, but I was too messed up. Drinking every day, living in shelters. I couldn't even take care of myself. And now? Now I'm sober, 15 days clean. I go to meetings every day. I got a job lined up, a place to live. I'm getting better. Victoria nodded. Why do you want custody of your nieces? Because they're family. Because Danny would want it. Because I failed Anna when she needed me, and I won't fail her kids. His eyes found Sophie in the courtroom. I love those girls. They're all I got left. Jennifer stood for cross-examination. Her voice stayed neutral but firm. Mr. Bennett, you've been sober for 15 days. Congratulations. But you were absent for 2 years before that. Why should the court believe this change is permanent? Because I hit bottom. You don't know what rock bottom looks like till you're there. And I was there. But these girls, knowing they needed me, that pulled me up. You have a job offer, $42,000 a year. Grace's medical expenses are $15,000 a month. How will you afford her care? Marcus hesitated. Medicaid, state programs. I'll figure it out. Figure it out? Grace needs specialists, medications, eventually a transplant costing $500,000. Can you provide that? No, Marcus's voice got hard. But money isn't love. Money isn't family. No, but medicine isn't free, and Grace will die without it. Objection, Victoria stood. Counsel is badgering the witness. Judge Morrison nodded. Sustained. Mrs. Walsh, move on. Jennifer adjusted her approach. Mr. Bennett, where were you the night Sophie and Grace were freezing on the street? Marcus flinched. I don't know. Probably at the shelter or a bar. You didn't know they were in danger? No. You didn't check on them? I didn't even know where they were living. So for 2 years you had no contact with your nieces. I told you I was messed up. And now, after Mr. Mercer saved their lives, spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on their care, provided them stability, you want to take them away. They're my blood. Blood that wasn't there when they needed it. Jennifer's voice stayed level, but the words cut. Mr. Mercer is a stranger who showed up. Your family who didn't. Marcus had no answer for that. Alex took the stand next. He placed his hand on the Bible, swore to tell the truth, sat down facing the courtroom, facing Sophie, facing judgment. Victoria Hastings approached like a circling predator. Mr. Mercer, you met these children 3 weeks ago, is that correct? Yes. Before that, you had no relationship with them? No. In fact, before that night, your company had dismissed their mother's pleas for help, correct? Yes. You signed the document that said no action required on Anna Bennett's letter. Alex met her eyes. Yes, I did. So you're responsible for their mother's death. Jennifer started to object, but Alex spoke first. I'm responsible for not helping when I could have. Yes. The admission shocked the courtroom. Victoria paused, recalibrating. Mr. Mercer, isn't it true that you're facing a $200 million lawsuit from South River residents? Yes. And isn't it convenient that right before this lawsuit, you suddenly became a hero by rescuing 2 South River children? There's nothing convenient about it. Really? The optics are perfect. Billionaire saves children. Public sympathy swings your way. Lawsuit pressure decreases. Alex's voice stayed calm. If I wanted good optics, I would have called social services and walked away. Instead, I stayed. I'm here, fighting for custody of children who will cost me my career. Your career you're losing anyway. The board suspended you, correct? Yes. So you have nothing to lose and everything to gain by playing savior. I have everything to lose. Alex looked at Sophie. If I lose them. Victoria switched tactics. Mr. Mercer, you're 42 years old. You've never had children. You work 80-hour weeks. You live alone. What makes you qualified to raise 2 traumatized girls? Nothing makes me qualified, but I'm learning. And I'm here. For how long? Until the novelty wears off? Until your company demands you return? Until you realize parenting is harder than board meetings? For as long as they need me. That's easy to say now. It's true, Tishu. Alex's voice got stronger. 3 weeks ago, I was empty. Successful but empty. I built an empire, but I'd lost my humanity. These children gave it back to me. Sophie taught me how to see people again. Grace taught me what matters. I'm not going to walk away from that. Ever. Victoria smirked. How touching. But Your Honor, the court should note that Mr. Mercer underwent a psychological evaluation at my request. Dr. Raymond Shaw concluded that Mr. Mercer displays signs of severe guilt-driven behavior, possibly stemming from unresolved childhood trauma related to his sister's death. His attachment to these children may be projection rather than genuine parental love. The words landed like bombs. Jennifer objected. Your Honor, Dr. Shaw never interviewed Mr. Mercer. This evaluation was done solely on public records. Nevertheless, Victoria said, it raises questions about Mr. Mercer's motives and stability. Judge Morrison looked at Alex. Mr. Mercer, would you submit to a proper psychological evaluation? Yes, Your Honor, gladly. Rebecca Hayes took the stand next. As the social worker who'd been monitoring the situation, her testimony carried weight. Jennifer questioned her first. Doctor, Hayes, you've conducted weekly home visits with Mr. Mercer and the children. What have you observed? Remarkable progress. Sophie has gone from withdrawn and anxious to engaging in school, making friends, participating in therapy. Her grades have improved. Her nightmares have decreased. And Mr. Mercer's parenting? He's learning, he makes mistakes, burns breakfast, doesn't always know the right thing to say. But he shows up every day, consistently. That's what traumatized children need most, consistency. In your professional opinion, should these children remain with Mr. Mercer? Rebecca hesitated. It's complicated. How so? Because Marcus Bennett is family, and family reunification is always the goal when possible. But Grace's medical needs are extraordinary. A lung transplant isn't just surgery, it's lifetime management. Daily medications costing thousands per month, frequent hospitalizations, specialized schools. She looked at the judge. Marcus loves these children. I believe that. But right now, today, love doesn't pay for anti-rejection drugs at $3,000 a month. Victoria stood for cross. Dr. Hayes, you've recommended family reunification in 78% of your cases. Why not here? Because 78% of my cases don't involve children with terminal illnesses requiring $500,000 surgeries. So you're saying poor people can't raise sick children. I'm saying children with chronic illness need resources Marcus doesn't have. Yet. Marcus has made remarkable progress in 2 weeks. If he maintains sobriety, builds his career, establishes stability, perhaps in a year or two he could provide what they need. But Grace doesn't have a year or two. Exactly. Judge Morrison called a recess, 20 minutes to review all testimony. Alex sat with Sophie in the hallway. She was quiet, too quiet. Are you okay? He asked. Will the judge make us go with Uncle Marcus? I don't know. Do you want us to? I want what's best for you and Grace. Sophie looked up at him. That's not an answer. Alex knelt down to her level. Sophie, I love you and your sister, more than I thought it possible. If the judge says you stay with me, I'll be the happiest man alive. If she says you go with Marcus, I'll be devastated. But either way, I'll make sure Grace gets the care she needs, I promise. How? I'll set up a trust fund for her medical care. No matter who has custody, the money will be there. Sophie's eyes filled with tears. You'd do that? Even if we're not with you? Of course. She threw her arms around him. I don't want to leave you, but Uncle Marcus is trying so hard, and he's my blood, and Mommy would want us with family. Her voice broke completely. Why does it have to be a choice? Why can't I love both of you? Alex held her tight. You can, sweetheart. You can love both of us. But the judge will make me pick. Maybe, maybe not. They sat together until the bailiff called them back. Judge Morrison had returned. Her face was unreadable. I've reviewed all testimony and documentation. This is an extraordinarily difficult case. Both parties clearly care about these children. She looked at Marcus. Mr. Bennett, your progress is commendable. Your debate to reunify with your family is understandable and appropriate. Then at Alex. Mr. Mercer, your commitment and resources are substantial. Your transformation appears genuine. She paused. However, this court's primary concern is the immediate welfare of the children. Grace Bennett is critically ill. She requires specialized care that cannot wait. Alex's heart pounded. Therefore, I'm granting temporary physical custody to Alexander Mercer for 90 days. Marcus made a sound like he'd been punched. Judge Morrison continued. This is not a final ruling. Mr. Bennett, you will complete your rehabilitation program. You will maintain sobriety. You will secure stable employment and housing. At the end of 90 days, we will reconvene for a final hearing. She looked at both men. During this time, Mr. Bennett will have supervised visitation every Sunday. He will be consulted on major medical and educational decisions. He remains Sophie and Grace's legal next of kin. Her gavel came down. Court is adjourned. In the hallway afterward, Marcus stood alone. His lawyer had already left. He looked shattered. Alex approached carefully. Mr. Bennett. Marcus turned. His eyes were red. You won. It's temporary. You heard the judge. 90 days. 90 days to prove I'm worth something. Marcus's voice was bitter. 90 days to compete with your millions. It's not a competition, isn't it? Marcus looked toward where Sophie was standing with Rebecca. She's already calling you by your first name. Already comfortable with you. In 90 days, she won't even remember me. That's not true, and Marcus, I meant what I said. I'm not trying to take them from you. Then what are you trying to do? Alex chose his words carefully. I'm trying to keep them alive until you can take care of them properly. Grace needs a transplant. Sophie needs stability. Give them that foundation. Then when you're ready, truly ready, we'll figure it out. Marcus studied him for a long moment. You really mean that? Yes. Why? Why would you help me? I'm trying to take them from you. Because Sophie loves you, because you're her family, because maybe, just maybe, this doesn't have to be winner take all. Maybe we can both be in their lives. Marcus's face crumpled. I don't want to hate you, but it's easier than admitting you're right. You don't have to admit anything. Just get better. Stay sober. Show up for those Sunday visits. Be the uncle they need. Marcus nodded slowly. 90 days. 90 days. They didn't shake hands, didn't hug, just nodded at each other. Two broken men trying to do right by two broken children. Sophie came over. She looked at Marcus, then at Alex. Can I hug Uncle Marcus? Of course, she ran to Marcus. He dropped to his knees, held her tight. I love you, kiddo. I'm going to get better. I promise. I know, and Alex will take care of us till you do. Marcus looked at Alex over Sophie's head. Something passed between them. Not friendship, not yet, but understanding. They left the courthouse separately. Marcus to his rehabilitation center, Alex and Sophie to the hospital where Grace was waiting. In the bar, Sophie was quiet for a long time. Then she said, Alex? Yeah? Thank you for not making me pick. I'd never make you pick, Sophie. You can love both of us. I do. Is that okay? Alex reached over, squeezed her hand. That's perfect. That night, back at the hospital, Grace was awake for the first time in days. Really awake. Not sedated, eyes open, looking around. When Sophie came in, Grace's face lit up. She reached out her tiny hands, made a sound, almost a word. Sophie! Sophie burst into tears. Gracie, you said my name. Dr. Rodriguez smiled from the doorway. She's been saying it all afternoon. First word post-extubation. Grace looked at Alex, studied him, then reached for him too. Dada? The word froze everyone in the room. Alex looked at Dr. Rodriguez. She shrugged. She's 18 months old. She's going to attach to whoever is consistently present. That's you. Alex moved closer. Grace grabbed his finger, held tight. Dada, Sophie giggled through her tears. She thinks you're her daddy. Is that okay? Alex asked. Sophie thought about it. Yeah, I think Mommy would like it. She always said daddies are the ones who show up, not the ones who leave. Alex picked up Grace carefully. She was still hooked to monitors, still fragile, but breathing on her own, making sounds, living. She laid her head on his shoulder, sighed contentedly. Dada. For the first time in 30 years, Alexander Mercer felt like he'd come home. Not to a place, to a purpose. To these two girls who needed him. To this broken, beautiful, impossible family they were building together. Outside, Chicago glittered. His company was in crisis. His career hung by a thread. His fortune was bleeding out in medical bills and legal fees. But holding these children, Alex realized something. He'd never been richer in his life. The 90 days stretched ahead, uncertain, dangerous, full of battles yet to fight. But tonight, in this moment, they had each other, and that was enough. The 90 days began like learning a new language, stumbling, uncertain, but necessary. Alex moved the girls into his townhouse in Lincoln Park. 4 bedrooms, too big for one man, perfect for a makeshift family. Grace's room became a medical center, oxygen concentrator humming in the corner, nebulizer on the nightstand, medications lined up like soldiers. A pediatric nurse, Carmen, 50-something with gentle hands and a no-nonsense attitude, came every day from 8 to 6. Sophie's room slowly transformed. At first, she wouldn't unpack her backpack, kept it by the bed, ready to run, ready for this dream to end. "You can put your things in the dresser," Alex said on day 3. "What if we have to leave?" "You're not leaving. You don't know that." She was right. He didn't. So he waited. On day 7, she unpacked one shirt, put it in a drawer. On day 14, she unpacked everything. Small victories. Alex learned fatherhood through trial and catastrophic error. The first pancake breakfast ended with the smoke alarm screaming and Sophie laughing so hard she fell off her chair. "You're supposed to flip them before they turn black." The instructions didn't mention timing. Because normal people can see smoke. They ate cereal instead. But Alex tried again the next morning, and the next. By week 3, he could make pancakes that were only slightly burnt. Sophie taught him to braid hair. His first attempt looked like a bird's nest in a tornado. "You're pulling too tight. My brain is going to come out." Sorry. Okay, like this? That's worse. Here, watch." She took the brush, showed him slowly. Patience beyond her years. By week 4, he could do a passable braid. He learned that monsters lived under beds and required checking every night. That strawberry milk was acceptable, but regular milk was poison. That Grace would only eat mac and cheese shaped like dinosaurs, never shells, never elbows, only dinosaurs. He learned that Sophie had nightmares 3 times a week, that she'd wake up gasping, crying for her mother, that sometimes the only thing that helped was sitting with her in the dark until dawn. "Tell me about Mom," she'd whisper. "I didn't know your mom." "Then tell me about your sister, the one who died." So Alex would talk about Claire, about her laugh, her drawings, her dreams of becoming a doctor. And Sophie would listen, and somehow sharing old grief made new grief more bearable. Every Sunday, Marcus came to visit. The first Sunday, he arrived sober, clean-shaven, eyes clear, brought a stuffed elephant for Grace and colored pencils for Sophie. They sat in the living room. Awkward, Sophie on the couch between Alex and Marcus like a referee. "How's rehab?" Sophie asked. "Hard, good hard. I got a roommate, guy named Pete. He's teaching me to play chess." "Are you winning?" "Not even close, but I'm learning." Marcus smiled, looked at Alex. "Mr. Mercer, thank you for letting me come. It's not my place to stop you. You're their family." The word hung there. Family. Marcus nodded slowly. By the 4th Sunday, Marcus and Alex were drinking coffee together while Sophie played with Grace, talking about sports, weather, neutral things, building something that wasn't quite friendship, but wasn't animosity either. By the 8th Sunday, Marcus asked, "Can I take Sophie to the park? Just for an hour. I know I'm supposed to be supervised, but..." Alex looked at Sophie. "Do you want to go?" She nodded. "Then go. I trust you, Marcus." Marcus's eyes got wet. "Thank you." They left. Alex watched from the window as Marcus pushed Sophie on the swings, the man limping but smiling, the girl laughing, healing happening in real time. Grace improved slowly, maddeningly slowly, but improved. By week 6, she was off oxygen during the day, still needed it at night, but progress. By week 8, she took her first steps. Wobbly, uncertain, but steps. Sophie cried, Carmen cried, Alex cried. Grace looked confused about why everyone was making such a fuss. Dr. Rodriguez visited weekly, checked Grace's lung capacity, ran tests, adjusted medications. "She's responding better than I expected," she said on week 10. "The clean air, the nutrition, the stability, it's making a difference." "Will she still need the transplant?" Too soon to say, but her lungs are improving. 15% better capacity than when she arrived. If this continues, we might be able to delay the transplant, maybe avoid it altogether. Alex felt hope. Dangerous, fragile hope. Day 87, 3 days before the final custody hearing. Sophie came home from school quiet. Too quiet. What's wrong? Alex asked. Kids at school are talking about the hearing, about the news stories. What are they saying? That you're trying to buy us, that we're charity cases, that Marcus should get us because he's real family and you're just pretending. Alex knelt down to her level. What do you think? Sophie's eyes filled with tears. I don't know anymore. I love you. And I love Uncle Marcus. And on Friday, a judge is going to make me pick. Sophie, Uncle Marcus is sober now. 90 days. He has a job, an apartment. He's ready. Maybe I should say I want to be with him. Is that what you want? I want everyone to stop fighting over us. I want Gracie to be healthy. I want Mommy back. She was crying hard now. But I can't have any of that. Alex pulled her into a hug, let her cry, didn't try to fix it, because some things couldn't be fixed with money or logic. Some things just hurt. When she calmed down, he said quietly, Sophie, I need to tell you something. Whatever the judge decides on Friday, I'm setting up a trust fund for Grace's medical care. $5 million. Whether you live with me or Marcus, that money will be there for her transplant, her medications, everything. Sophie pulled back, looked at him. You'd do that even if we leave? Of course. Why, Mo? Because I love you, both of you, and love doesn't come with conditions. Sophie hugged him again, tighter this time. I don't want to leave you, but I don't want to hurt Uncle Marcus either. I know, sweetheart. I know. Day 90. The final custody hearing. The same courtroom, the same judge, but different energy. This time it was for keeps. Marcus arrived first, 90 days sober, working at the mechanic shop, his own apartment, wearing a suit he'd bought himself. He looked different, stronger, whole in a way he hadn't been before. He saw Alex, nodded. Alex nodded back. They sat on opposite sides of the courtroom. Sophie between Rebecca Hayes and a child advocate, Grace with Carmen in the back, playing quietly. Judge Morrison entered. Everyone stood. We're here for the final custody determination of Sophie and Grace Bennett. Mr. Bennett, you've completed your 90-day requirements? Yes, Your Honor, 90 days sober, employed, stable housing. Mr. Mercer, you've maintained custody without incident? Yes, Your Honor. Then let's begin. Ms. Hastings, you may call your first witness. Victoria Hastings stood. Your Honor, I'd like to call Marcus Bennett to the stand. Marcus took the oath. Sat down, looked nervous but clear-eyed. Victoria started gently. Mr. Bennett, tell us about the last 90 days. They've been the hardest days of my life, and the best. Marcus's voice was steady. I completed 30 days inpatient, then 60 days outpatient. Went to AA meetings every single day, got my 90-day chip yesterday. He pulled it from his pocket, held it up, small bronze coin, worth more than gold. I got a job, mechanic at AutoWorks. My boss, Jimmy, he gave me a chance. $42,000 a year. Not much, but honest. And housing? 2-bedroom apartment in Bridgeport. Not fancy, but clean, safe, near a good school. Why do you want custody of your nieces? Marcus looked at Sophie. Because they're my blood. Because I promised their mother. Because I've spent 90 days getting better so I could be the uncle they deserve. Jennifer stood for cross-examination. Mr. Bennett, 90 days sober is remarkable. But statistically, first-year relapse rates for alcoholism are 60 to 70%. How can this court be confident you'll maintain sobriety? I can't promise that. Nobody can. But I can promise I'll fight every day. And I got support. AA, my sponsor, Jimmy at the shop. You earn $42,000 a year. Grace's current medical expenses are $12,000 per month. Can you afford that? Mr. Mercer set up a trust fund. He told me about it last week. The medical costs are covered. Jennifer paused. Mr. Mercer told you about the trust fund? Yes, ma'am. Even though you're fighting him for custody? Yes, ma'am. Marcus looked at Alex. He said Grace needs care no matter who wins, so he made sure she'd have it. The courtroom murmured. Judge Morrison called for quiet. Jennifer switched approaches. Mr. Bennett, in the 90 days of temporary custody, how many visits did you have with the children? 13, every Sunday. And in those visits, how did the children respond to you? Marcus's voice got rough. Sophie was happy to see me. We'd go to the park, talk. She'd tell me about school, about Grace getting better, about Alex teaching her to cook. She talked about Mr. Mercer all the time, about how he helps with homework, reads to them at night, checks for monsters under the bed. Marcus stopped, swallowed hard, about how he's the best dad she could ask for. The last words came out barely above a whisper. I'm sorry, Jennifer said. Could you repeat that? Marcus looked at the judge, at Sophie, at Alex. She said he's the best dad she could ask for. Silence in the courtroom. No further questions, Jennifer said quietly. Alex took the stand next. He'd testified before. Corporate depositions, board inquiries. Always controlled, always prepared. But looking at Sophie in the gallery, he felt completely unprepared. Jennifer kept it simple. Mr. Mercer, describe a typical day with the children. Wake up at 6:30, make breakfast, usually pancakes, usually only slightly burnt. A small laugh from the courtroom. Sophie and I do the dishes together. She goes to school. I work from home. Pick her up at 3, homework. Grace has physical therapy at 4, dinner at 6, bath time at 7, story time at 8, lights out by 9. That's quite structured. Sophie needs structure, consistency. After years of chaos, she needs to know what comes next. How has Sophie adjusted? She's thriving. Grades went from D's to B's, made friends, joined the art club, sees Dr. Park, her therapist, weekly. The nightmares are down to once a week instead of nightly. And Grace? Grace is a miracle. Her lung capacity is up 40%. She's walking, talking, says about 20 words now. Her favorites are Sophie and Dada. His voice caught on the last word. Jennifer smiled. She calls you Dada? Yes. I tried to correct her at first, but Dr. Rodriguez said to let her, said attachment to a consistent caregiver is crucial at her age. Do you love these children, Mr. Mercer? More than anything in the world? More than your company? I don't have my company anymore. The board voted me out permanently last week. But yes, even when I had it, more than that. Victoria Hastings stood for cross. Mr. Mercer, you say you love these children, but you loved your company once too, built it from nothing, then lost interest when something more appealing came along. That's not what happened, isn't it? You built a fortune, got bored. Now you're building a family. What happens when you get bored of this too? I won't. You can't know that? I can, because these aren't projects. They're people. They're my daughters. Your daughters? They're not your daughters. They're Marcus Bennett's nieces. You're just a man who found them in the snow. I'm the man who stayed. The words hung there. Simple, true, devastating. Victoria tried again. Mr. Mercer, isn't it true that your psychologist, Dr. Lisa Park, noted concerns about your attachment stemming from unresolved trauma regarding your sister? Dr. Park said I need to process that trauma, which I'm doing in therapy, weekly, but my love for Sophie and Grace is real, not projection, real. How can you be sure? Because I've learned the difference. Projection is about me. Love is about them. Every choice I make now is about what they need, not what I need. That's love. Then Judge Morrison said the words everyone was dreading and hoping for. I'd like to speak with Sophie. Sophie walked to the witness stand, small in the big chair, but her spine was straight, her eyes were clear. Judge Morrison spoke gently. Sophie, you're 8 years old now, old enough to have a say in this. Who would you like to live with? Sophie looked at Marcus, then at Alex, then back at the judge. Can I say something first? Of course. Sophie took a breath. When my mommy died, I thought the whole world died too. We didn't have anywhere to go. No food, no heat. Grace was so sick. I didn't know what to do. I was just 7. Her voice stayed steady, strong. Then Mr. Alex found us, and he could have called someone and left, but he didn't. He stayed. He promised he wouldn't leave, and he kept that promise. She looked at Alex. For 90 days, he kept every promise. He showed up. He learned how to make pancakes even though they were terrible at first. He learned to braid my hair. He checks for monsters. He sits with me when I have nightmares. He loves Grace like she's his own. Then she looked at Marcus. Uncle Marcus is my family, my blood, and I love him so much. He got sober, got better, showed up every Sunday, proved he could be the uncle Mommy wanted him to be. Tears ran down her face now. I love them both, and I don't want to hurt either of them. But if I have to choose, she stopped, closed her eyes, breathed. I choose Grace. The courtroom went still. I choose whoever can keep Grace alive, because she's little. She didn't choose to get sick, and she needs medicine and doctors and a transplant someday, and I can survive anything. I've survived losing Mommy. I've survived the streets. I've survived the cold. Her voice broke. But I can't survive losing Gracie. So please give us to whoever can save her. Sophie started crying, full sobs. The child advocate moved to comfort her, but Marcus stood up. Your Honor, may I approach? Judge Morrison looked surprised. Mr. Bennett? Marcus walked toward the witness stand, slowly, limping but steady. He knelt in front of Sophie, took her small hands in his scarred ones. Sophie, baby, look at me. She looked up through tears. I love you and Gracie more than anything. You're the only family I got. You're my blood. You're my brother's legacy. His voice cracked. But you're right. Grace needs more than I can give. Right now, maybe someday I'll be ready, but not today. He looked at Alex, then at Judge Morrison. Your Honor, I'm withdrawing my petition for custody. The courtroom erupted. Victoria Hastings stood up. Mr. Bennett, I know what we discussed, but this ain't about winning. It's about what's right. He turned back to Sophie. You're going to stay with Alex. He's going to take care of you, keep you safe, help Grace get better. And I'm going to visit. I'm going to be your uncle. I'm not disappearing. But I'm not taking you away from safety just to prove a point. Sophie threw her arms around him. I love you, Uncle Marcus. I love you too, kiddo. So much that I'm doing the hard thing, the right thing. He looked at Alex. Take care of them. Alex's voice was rough. I will. I swear I will. Marcus stood, walked back to his table, told Victoria Hastings, I'm done. Judge Morrison took a moment to compose herself. Mr. Bennett, this is highly irregular. Are you certain? Yes, Your Honor, I'm certain. Very well. She looked around the courtroom. Given Mr. Bennett's withdrawal and the evidence presented, this court grants full permanent custody of Sophie and Grace Bennett to Alexander Mercer, with all parental rights and responsibilities. Her gavel came down. Mr. Bennett will retain an unlimited visitation rights and will be consulted on major decisions. But legal custody belongs to Mr. Mercer. Sophie ran to Alex, crashed into him. He caught her, held her tight. Grace toddled over from Carmen's lap. Dada! Alex picked up both girls, held them both, his family, legally now, but more than that, really. Marcus stood in the aisle, tears on his face but smiling. A broken smile, a beautiful smile. Alex walked over, still holding the girls. Marcus, thank you. Don't thank me, just love them. I do. And Marcus, you're still family. You'll always be family. Marcus nodded, couldn't speak. Just touched Sophie's hair once, gentle, then turned and walked out. Not running away, just giving them space. But Alex knew he'd see Marcus Sunday, and every Sunday after that, because family wasn't just blood, it was choice. It was showing up. It was doing the hard, right thing. 3 years later, Chicago Environmental Youth Innovation Fair, Navy Pier, June sunshine making the lake sparkle. Sophie stood on stage, 11 years old now, taller, confident, her project displayed behind her. Charts, graphs, photos of South River, before and after. My name is Sophie Mercer. Her voice carried through the microphone. Strong, clear. When I was 7 years old, my baby sister almost died because she couldn't breathe clean air. My mother died for the same reason. The audience leaned forward, silent. I used to think rich people didn't see kids like us, that we were invisible. But then someone saw us. Someone stopped. Someone cared. She clicked to the next slide. My project is called Breathing Tomorrow. It's a plan to restore South River using the community air monitoring, green infrastructure, and educational programs. Partnering with Mercer Environmental Solutions, we've already cleaned 80% of the contamination. More slides, data, results, hope. 3 years ago, kids in South River had a 40% higher rate of respiratory illness. Today it's down to 5% above average. We're not done, but we're getting there. She smiled. My mom used to say clean air isn't a privilege. It's a right. I'm going to make sure every kid has that right. The judges deliberated. 10 minutes that felt like hours. Then the announcement. First place, Sophie Mercer. The crowd erupted. Sophie stood frozen for a moment, then smiled so wide it looked like her face might break. She ran off stage, into Alex's arms. He spun her around. Grace jumped up and down. Sissy won! Sissy won! Mom Marcus was there too, over 3 years sober now, manager at AutoWorks, engaged to a woman named Sarah, part of the family. Proud of you, kiddo, Marcus said, hugging Sophie. Thanks, Uncle Marcus. They stood together, the makeshift family, not perfect, but real. Alex and Marcus on either side of Sophie, Grace holding both their hands, Sarah smiling behind them. A photographer from the Tribune took their picture. It would run on the front page tomorrow. But right now, they were just a family celebrating. That afternoon, they drove to South River. The neighborhood looked different, cleaner, trees planted along the streets, new playground in the park, the river itself running clear. Not perfect, but breathable. They walked to Anna Bennett Memorial Garden, opened 3 months ago, dedicated to South River victims. A place to remember, a place to hope. Sophie knelt by her mother's name on the memorial wall, placed her trophy beside it. Hi, Mommy, I won, first place. Can you believe it? She touched the engraved letters. Anna Bennett, beloved mother, voice for the voiceless. Grace is healthy now. She doesn't need a transplant. Her lungs are almost normal. Dr. Rodriguez says it's a miracle. Grace toddled up, placed a handful of dandelions by the plaque. For Gamma Anna, Sophie smiled. That's Grandma Anna, Gracie. Gamma, Grace insisted. Close enough, Sophie pulled her sister close. Mommy, I have a family now. It's different than what you planned, but it's good, really good. Alex and Marcus stood back, giving the girls space, but close enough to hear. Sophie continued, Dad, Alex takes care of us. Uncle Marcus visits all the time. We're safe. We're loved. We're home. She wiped her eyes. I know you can see us. I know you're proud. And Mommy, thank you for asking someone to help us, because someone heard, someone came. Alex stepped forward, knelt beside Sophie. Anna, I'm sorry I didn't read your letter when it mattered. I'm sorry I didn't help sooner. But I promise you this, your daughters will never be invisible again. They'll never be voiceless. They'll change the world, because they're already changing mine. Marcus knelt on the other side. Anna, I'm sorry I wasn't there when you needed me. But I'm here now. I'm sober. I'm showing up. I'm the brother-in-law you deserved. They stayed there for a long time. The 4 of them. The 5 if you counted Anna's presence. The 6 if you counted Claire's. All the broken people learning to be whole together. 5 years later, Sophie turned 16. Sweet 16, though she hated that phrase. There's nothing sweet about 16. It's complicated and awkward, and everyone expects you to know what you want to be. What do you want to be? Alex asked. An environmental lawyer, like I've been saying since I was 8. Just checking if it changed. Dad, it's not changing. Dad, she'd started calling him that 2 years ago, on Father's Day. Made him a card. To the dad who showed up. He'd cried for an hour. Grace was 10 now, healthy, lungs at 95% capacity, no transplant needed. She played soccer, wanted to be a doctor, just like Claire had wanted, the circle completing itself. Alex was 52, gray at the temples, laugh lines around his eyes. Still ran Mercer Environmental Solutions, now the most successful green company in the Midwest, worth more than the old company ever was. Proof that doing right could be profitable. Marcus was 46, 7 years sober, owned 3 AutoWorks locations, married to Sarah. They had a son, 2 years old, named Daniel after Marcus's brother, Sophie and Grace's cousin. Family expanding. They gathered for Sophie's birthday, not at a fancy restaurant, at home, in the house that had become theirs. Pizza, cake, badly sung happy birthday. Sophie blew out the candles, made a wish. "What did you wish for?" Grace asked. "Can't tell or it won't come true." "I bet you wished for straight A's." "You know me too well." After cake, Sophie found Alex on the porch, sat beside him. "Dad?" "Yeah?" "I want to change my middle name. Legally." "To what?" "Claire, after your sister. Sophie Claire Mercer." Alex's throat tightened. "Sophie, you don't have to." "I want to. She saved us too, in a way. If she hadn't died, you wouldn't have built your company. Wouldn't have been on that street that night. Everything that happened because of her." She leaned against him. "Plus, I looked up what Claire means. It means bright, clear, famous. That's what I want to be. Clear about what's right, bright enough to light the way, famous enough that people have to listen. Your mom would be so proud." "Both moms, Anna and Claire, they're both watching, right?" "I believe they are." They sat in comfortable silence, watching Grace play with Marcus's son in the yard, watching family happen in real time. "Dad?" Sophie said again. "Yeah? Thank you for stopping that night. Thank you for seeing us." Alex wrapped his arm around her. "Thank you for teaching me how to see." The sky darkened, stars came out, one by one, like promises being kept. Inside, the party continued. Laughter, music, life. Outside, Alex and Sophie sat together, not saying much, not needing to. A car pulled up, Rebecca Hayes. She still checked in sometimes, not officially, just as a friend. "I heard there was birthday cake," she said, walking up the driveway. "There's always birthday cake in this house." Sophie laughed. Rebecca hugged her. "Sweet 16, how does it feel?" "Complicated." "Good, that means you're doing it right." She looked at Alex. "You know, when I first met you, I didn't think this would work. Rich CEO trying to save street kids. It sounded like a disaster." "It almost was," Alex admitted. "But you proved me wrong. You didn't just save them. You let them save you." "They did more than save me. They gave me a reason to be better than I was." Rebecca smiled. "That's what family does." She went inside to get cake, left Alex and Sophie alone again. "Dad," Sophie said, "can I ask you something?" "Always." "Do you ever regret it? Losing your company, your old life, everything you gave up?" Alex thought about it, really thought about it. "I used to measure success in dollars and deals. Now I measure it differently." "How?" "In you wanting to change your middle name to honor my sister. In Grace, healthy enough to play soccer. In Marcus, 7 years sober. In this house full of laughter. In knowing that when I die, I won't die alone and forgotten. I'll die surrounded by people who love me." He looked at her. "So no, I don't regret a single thing." Sophie hugged him. "Good, because we're keeping you. I'm counting on it." They went inside, joined the party, ate too much cake, sang too loud, stayed up too late. And somewhere in the space between the living and the gone, two women watched and smiled. Anna Bennett, who had asked someone to see her children. Claire Mercer, who had taught her brother that love was worth dying for. Both of them present in the family that had been built from loss and snow and impossible second chances. The Mercer family, not perfect, not traditional, but real. And that was more than enough. 17 years after that night in the snow, Sophie had just been accepted to Northwestern Law School, full scholarship, top of her class, job offers from every major firm. She turned them all down, opened her own practice, environmental justice law, representing communities like South River. Pro bono for those who couldn't afford it. Grace finished her pre-med degree, applied to medical schools, got into Johns Hopkins, Wanted to specialize in pediatric pulmonology, help kids like she had been. Marcus celebrated 15 years sober. Expanded to 7 AutoWorks locations, employed 40 people, many of them recovering addicts getting second chances. Alex turned 60, retired from day-to-day operations, spent his time with his daughters, his granddaughters. Yes, plural. Sophie had twin girls, named them Anna and Claire, the circle completing itself again. On the 10-year anniversary of that night, they all returned to the spot where it began, Michigan Avenue and Randolph Street. The cafe was still there, different name, different owners, but same steps. They stood there, Alex, Sophie, Grace, Marcus, Sarah, the twins, family in all its messy glory. This is where it happened, Sophie told her daughters. This is where Grandpa Alex found me and Aunt Grace. The twins looked at the steps, at the man they called Grandpa, at the impossible story they'd heard 100 times but never tired of. Were you scared? Anna asked. Sophie knelt down, terrified. But sometimes the scariest moments lead to the best things. She looked at Alex. Like family. Alex picked up both twins, one on each hip. You know what I learned that night? What? They asked in unison. That people aren't numbers. That letters matter. That stopping matters. That seeing matters. And that love, real love, is worth more than all the money in the world. It started snowing. Soft at first, then harder. Just like that night 10 years ago. But this time, no one was cold. No one was alone. No one was invisible. They walked back to their cars together. The Mercer family and the Bennett family. 2 names. 1 family. And somewhere in the snow, 2 women walked with them. Invisible but present. Anna and Claire. Mothers, sisters, angels. Their job done. Their children safe. Their legacy alive. The city glittered around them. Chicago, beautiful, brutal, full of people who needed to be seen, and the Mercer family made sure they were. 1 letter at a time, 1 child at a time, 1 stopped car at a time. Because Alexander Mercer had learned the most important lesson of his life on a frozen sidewalk 10 years ago. That humanity isn't measured in quarterly reports. It's measured in the moment you choose to kneel in the snow. And stay. For every Anna Bennett who writes a letter, for every Claire Mercer taken too soon, for every Sophie and Grace waiting to be seen, for every Marcus fighting to be better, and for every person who stops their car in the snow. This story is for you.